Hey everyone, today is story time and I've come to tell you a story that is not it's not something awesome that happened to me or something funny that happened to me. It was something quite scary that happened to me. So it's not a story that I take pleasure in telling, but I will tell you guys. This was a few years ago and I was in South Africa and I had a neighbor that was a girl from my class at school. So we would go to school together, come back from school, and all of that. She had two dogs. So she had a really, really old dog and that pup. And I went over to her place and she was like, "Yeah, what do you think about going for a walk with the dogs?" And I said, "Yeah, why not? I mean, I like dogs and I may not have had dogs until that point in my life, but I liked them, so I thought, yeah, why not?" So it was like, I think it was the first walk the little pup was having, and in Port Elizabeth, which is where I used to live in SA, so it's a custom between people that it's such an easygoing environment and all of that that all all owners of dogs can walk their dogs without a leash. So the old dog didn't have a leash and neither did the little pup. So they had the normal collars and stuff. That's it. We started going for the walk and we kept stopping little pieces because of the little pup, and every now and again we would call him, so kind of like training him to understand that even though he doesn't have a leash, he's supposed to walk with us. And we were going around close by to the house, and there was an owner with two other dogs, big dogs, walking without a leash, their dogs as well. Now, for some reason, these dogs, the big dogs, got angry towards the dogs that we were walking. I don't know why, okay? But it was amazing because we were on the opposite side of the road, okay? They were on the other side. These two dogs decided to come charging towards us. So imagine two big dogs running towards us and the dogs, our dogs. So automatically my friend picks up her little dog and like holds him because she didn't know what his action was going to be. He's a little pup, so he might run towards the big dogs and that could be an issue, or we didn't know. So the first thing she did was pick that up, and she thought that the older dog was kind of was going to run away from the big dogs. The older dog, my friend's dog, was trying to walk away, was trying to ignore the big dogs, but the big dogs came right for him. And one of them went for my friend's dog's neck. And all I saw was that big dog holding my friend's dog on the neck and twirling it, going round in circles. So I could see this little body of this really old dog flimsing around, and it was terrifying. So my friend panics and she's like, "Oh shit, I gotta help my dog, the other dog." So she passes the little pup to me and she's like, "Protect it." And she throws it basically at me, and I grab it like in my hands, and it's quivering and like it wants to see what's happening and all of this. So I'm trying to like not let it watch what's happening, and I'm holding it, and I see that the second dog comes running towards me. It saw the little pup and he wanted to go for the pup. All I know is I remember that I thought, "Oh crap, me and this little pup are gone. We're gonna be bitten and all of this." So all I could think of doing, because I knew that if I tried running, this dog was gonna run and was gonna get me anyway. So all I did was I turned my face, my front part of the body with the pup towards a wall, and I just like kind of hit it like this, and praying like, oh my God, please, 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 nothing bad happen. And I didn't know because I couldn't see what was going on with my friend, so I didn't know what was happening. All I could hear was her older dog screeching, going like, and her screaming like, oh my God, stop, help. Luckily, obviously, the owner of these two big dogs was there. So he came charging towards us as well and trying to call off the dogs. And he himself was scared of actually stopping the dogs, literally. But luckily, the other neighbors heard all this screaming and commotion and stuff, and they came out. Like, quite a few big dudes. And they all came towards the dogs and tried to hold the dogs back from us. This way, luckily, the big dog that had grabbed the older dog had finally let go of the dog, and that dog was lying on the ground. And the big dog that came for me and the pup was pulled away before he could do anything to me. So luckily, he wasn't going for me, he was just going for the pup. And as soon as I hit the pup, he didn't know that he was with me still, and that was my lucky move. But who would have known? He could have tried to like dig me through and like push me or something. You know, those dogs are quite heavy. So, and I was a kid. I mean, I think I was around 14, 15. So I was a kid, and that was a big, big, big dog. Anyway, that was quite frightening. They were able to take away the dogs, and that's when we realized I have to turn around now and see what happened to the other dog. And as I look, my friend is kneeling on the floor checking on her dog, and her dog is alive, it's breathing, but obviously is in shock, and it's laying on the ground, not moving much. And he had huge holes on his neck from the teeth of the other dog. And he was bleeding and all of that. It was not pretty at all. So obviously she grabs this dog and she's like, we gotta go back to the house and take him to the vet and blah blah. And I was like, yeah. So she grabs him and I kept holding the pup. And the pup, right away, he saw the other dog, and even though he was quite young, he was already kind of attached to the old dog. So as he saw his buddy lying on the ground, he got worried and he starts crying. Imagine this little pup crying in your arms and trying to get away from you to see what's happening. So that made me cry. I remember that day I cried at that moment because I was like, oh my gosh, something really bad just happened, and I have this little baby in my hands and it's crying and I don't know what to do. Well, eventually, yeah, we got back to her house, which luckily was close by, and the dog was taken to the vet and it got cleaned out. It had to go through surgery and all of that to see if everything was alright. He had a big lump for a while because of infection and all of that, but luckily he didn't catch anything like rabies or anything like that. And he was fine. He didn't break his neck or anything, and he lived quite a while after that. So he only died of old age, really old age. The pup grew up fine. He was not traumatized or anything. So at the end of the day, it was a good thing because none of the dogs were hurt. None of my friend or me got hurt, although this situation could have gone really, really, really badly. So my advice for this story time is, if you have dogs and you have trained your dogs to walk without a leash, that is awesome. But keep in mind that even though they may be trained for so many years and never done anything wrong, one day it might happen that something might make them snap and make them want to go for it and not listen to you anymore. I mean, let's face it, animals are animals. They are of the wild nature, and even though we may train them, they can get a bit feisty or neurotic or anything like that at a point. Just like humans, we can be the most calm people and then out of the blue just freak out and go completely berserk. So that is not a very good story time, but it is something real. If anything like this has ever happened to you, please leave a comment down below telling me the story. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, but I do understand if you want to give me a thumbs down for the sad story. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe, and I will see you on Friday with a funny video. I have a really funny one for you. Keep tuned. Bye! If anything like this has ever happened, bleh.